On the moist forest floor, an ancient hunter stalks its prey, as it's done for 500 million years. The velvet worm is an all-terrain terror, flowing across uneven ground on hydraulic legs. Each one is tipped with a retractable claw for better grip. Tiny bumps on the body, called papillae, repel water, keeping the worm dry as it navigates its wet, humid world.
Each of the wart-like bumps on its body has a bristle at the tip that acts as a mechanoreceptive sensor. What this means is that the velvet worm is constantly monitoring its environment with its skin.
It looks harmless enough, but the only soft thing about the velvet worm is its name.
They're voracious predators. Velvet worms can grow up to 4 inches, and they can capture animals right up to their own size. This puts a very large amount of different creatures on their menu list.
With a top speed of less than 2 inches per second, it's not able to chase down a meal. But who needs speed when you possess one of the bug world's strangest and most effective long-range weapons? On either side of its head, modified legs called oral tubes fire twin jets of viscous slime. Caught in the sticky blast, the target is immobilized by biological glue.
This slime straitjacket is about 90% water. But as the water evaporates, proteins in the slime start to tangle and form tight chemical bonds. This becomes stringier, stickier, and harder by the second. This is such a cunning natural design.
The velvet worm isn't the only wily fighter in the forest. The harvestman also has a few tricks up its very long sleeves.
You'd think to look at a harvestman that it's a spider, but these guys aren't spiders at all. They don't have venom, they don't have a sting, they don't produce silk. Harvestmen are pretty much characterized by legs.
Those long limbs give it critical clearance in a close fight. And its spiky exoskeleton makes it a tough foe to tackle. And when it comes to victims, the harvestman isn't fussy. Spiked feelers called pedipalps grab and hold the prey, while claw-like mouthparts rip and tear at the flesh. And when under attack, the harvestman wields its own chemical weapon.
The way many harvestmen defend themselves is with stinky glandular secretions that can spray or ooze onto the predator.
When these chemical combatants collide, it's stealth and stickiness versus stench on stilts. In the Central American rainforest, a velvet worm hunts for prey. Close by, a long-legged harvestman is also prowling for food. Neither will back down. The velvet worm has slime guns and razor-sharp mouthparts. The harvestman boasts claw-like mandibles and a foul defensive spray. Which one will live to fight another day?
This contest is between two very different approaches to survival. Strong offense versus strong defense. Heavy weapons versus heavy armor.
With the worm in its sights, the harvestman moves in for the kill.
I think the harvestman has lots and lots of advantages, but it's got to get in close.
but it's too close. The worm gives it both barrels at point-blank range. The harvestman struggles, but thrashing only tightens its slimy bonds. It's the glue from hell.
Now that's what I call chemical warfare. It may go everywhere. Half of it may miss the target, but wow. That is a prey capture technique that's impossible to upstage and very difficult to escape.
The harvestman is in serious trouble.
All it can do at this point is back off and see if it can groom the glue off. But it's nasty.
With its victim pinned and defenseless, the velvet worm switches to safecracker mode, looking for a way into its meal. Like hellish cookie cutters, the powerful mandibles start sawing through the harvestman's armor. Eventually, the worm injects its toxic saliva.
The saliva that the velvet worm is injecting contains mucus and also hydrolytic digestive enzymes that are pre-digesting the food outside of its body, so all it has to do now is sit back and suck it up.
Things don't always turn out the way you'd expect in the bug realm. You can have all the weapons in the world, but slow and sticky often wins the race. When a flag-tailed assassin bug goes into battle against a golden carpenter ant, it's precision versus power. In the bug world, there is no shortage of bizarre-looking creatures. With its large body, tiny head, and elephant-like proboscis, the flag-tailed assassin bug takes the prize for goofy looks. Like red flags, colorful tails protrude from the assassin bug's rear end.
It could be to warn off a predator, attract a mate, we don't know. But what we do know is that the business side of things is on the other end.
That extraordinary proboscis is usually tucked up under the head. But ignore it at your peril. It's rapier sharp. This bug is a methodical murderer.
This is a very stealthy hunter. It stalks its prey very softly and smoothly, controlling every movement precisely.
Bulging compound eyes register the slightest movement. Thick pipe cleaner legs bristle with sensory hairs. Twin claws are like grappling hooks for climbing. Antennae aren't just sensors. They're part of the arsenal. She would do well to prime her weapons. Nearby, a sworn enemy is on the prowl, shining like a Christmas decoration. A female golden carpenter ant forages for food.
They're called carpenter ants because they dig burrows into decaying trees or soft trees, and they're basically just using their jaws to gnaw their way in.
Tough serrated mandibles are not just woodworking tools. They're vicious weapons. Enough for even a solitary ant to take on much larger spiders and scorpions.
These guys can be really nasty. They go in, they bite another animal, and then they curl their abdomen around and spray formic acid into the wound. It's corrosive, it causes burns. Formic acid is something that everything wants to stay away from.
But what happens when the golden pit bull tries to take down the bizarre assassin. Among the rainforest blossoms, a flag-tailed assassin bug is on a stakeout. Close by, a golden carpenter ant is out on the prowl. The flag-tailed assassin bug will use its proboscis to inject toxic saliva and flesh-melting digestive juices. The golden carpenter ant will use its toughened when a horned katydid and an owl butterfly caterpillar lock horns. There's no happily ever after. The jungle underworld is full of bizarre beasts. With its forked tail, spiked back, and hairy horns, the owl butterfly caterpillar is like a mythical creature.
It just looks like some kind of weird snake or slug, and its entire existence revolves around one thing: eating, and eating a lot.
While gorging on leaves, it must avoid becoming a banquet for something else. Its main defense is its terrifying appearance.
If a predator comes along, he'll do everything he can to look more like a viper than a caterpillar. Puff himself up, act strangely, pull threatening poses, even swipe with his horns.
The horns are hard and can be used like antlers in battle. And the owl butterfly caterpillar's mandibles can do more than mulch.
Push comes to shove, he will use them to try to fend off an aggressor.
The owl butterfly caterpillar isn't the only horned beast on the prowl. With its distinctive crowning glory, the horned katydid resembles the fabled unicorn.
The horned katydids have this weird projection coming out just behind their eyes. They may look cute, but these are predatory katydids.
The horned katydid is a ruthless assassin, able to hide in plain sight.
Often they'll look like just this perfect green leaf. Even the veins in their wings look like the veins in a leaf. Potential prey may be walking along and they don't notice that this leaf, in fact, is a predator, and that's to their peril.
The horn is there to intimidate. But the real danger are these mandibles. Sharp enough to skewer heavily armored opponents. Then spiked legs, vicious enough to rip through a predatory bat's wings. It's a foe that's as lethal as it is mean.
They're serious predators that attack animals and eat them alive. These spiny forelegs are used kind of like a cage. The spines keep the prey close to the katydid, and then it's able to bite it and tear it into pieces.
This killer doesn't wait for its prey to die. It's just meat and eat. But what happens when the katydid locks horns with the owl butterfly caterpillar? It's the dead of night in the jungle. A horned katydid is looking for fresh meat. On a nearby leaf, an owl butterfly caterpillar is also out to feed. The katydid's antennae lock on. It will attack with bolt cutter mouthparts, and thorny limbs, the owl butterfly caterpillar will retaliate with its spiked horns and bristling tail. Who will inflict the mortal blow? The two opponents go head-to-head. The owl butterfly caterpillar tries to psych out its opponent with a bizarre defensive dance. The katydid is momentarily stunned. It wasn't expecting a show.
The whole point of wiggling about like a snake is to send out a fake but believable signal that I'm toxic, I will bite you, leave me alone.
Surgical strike. Bravely, the caterpillar tries to twist free. It lashes with its forked tail, desperately trying to get in a bite. Soft tissue splits like the skin of a sausage, spilling the remains of the caterpillar's last meal. This big bad bug never eats its greens.
Often what they'll do is they'll pull the guts out to avoid the nasty chemicals that are in the plant that the caterpillar ate, and they're able to eat the relatively succulent caterpillar itself.
Even disemboweled, the caterpillar tries to bite its attacker. In the end, the owl butterfly caterpillar achieves a sort of metamorphosis. A gruesome transformation. Potential butterfly to unrecognizable. When a vinegaroon and a striped-tailed centipede come to the surface, all hell will break loose. The rainforest is riddled with entrances to the underworld. From one dark gash, like some mythical monster, comes a striped-tailed centipede. Every night, it leaves its subterranean lair on a mission to murder. A hyperactive hunter plowing through the forest on 22 pairs of legs.
You'd think that they'd be getting tripped up all the time, but with each one longer than the previous, they never get tangled.
The centipede's speed and mobility are even more impressive when you realize it's almost blind. Its antennae act like all-seeing eyes. Beneath the antennae, on either side of the head, the main strike weapons, two modified legs, have become venom claws that deliver a toxic shock. Perched high on a leaf, a grasshopper thinks it's out of harm's way. But the striped-tailed express is hot on its chemical trail and severs a hind leg.
Now that's poor defense. The grasshopper really should have jumped clear while it had a chance, because now when the centipede comes back, it's not going to have a leg to stand on.
The venom claws now serve as silverware, pulling soft flesh from the exoskeleton. Like a discerning diner ripping meat from a lobster tail. Nearby, another denizen of the dark emerges, hungry for blood. With its heavy armor and creeping crab-like wall, the vinegaroon is a primeval nightmare.
Vinegaroons are like B-grade movie idols. I mean, they're just really scary, monster-looking animals.
Massive pedipalps, ending in crude pincers, grab prey in a merciless embrace, then crush it against serrated armor plates. Like all arachnids, the vinegaroon has 8 legs, but only 6 are used for walking. The first 2 are sensors that the vinegaroon taps around like a blind person's cane. Its heavy armor is enough to deter most predators. If that doesn't work, the vinegaroon mounts a reeking rearguard action.
They've got a gland at the base of their tail that is capable of spraying what's essentially vinegar as much as 3 feet away. They're able to move their tail around, aim it toward the predator, and then spray this mix of acetic acid and caprylic acid. It breaks down an invertebrate's exoskeleton.
But will the vinegaroon's heavy weapons be enough to defeat the striped-tailed centipede when it attacks head-on? In the dead of night, the rainforest is haunted by underworld demons. A voracious striped-tailed centipede follows a trail to its next meal. Meanwhile, a vinegaroon waits for its dinner to arrive. The centipede attacks with spiny feet and razor-sharp venom claws. The vinegaroon wields giant club-like pedipalps, spiked pincers, and serrated blades. Who'll survive the battle of the night terrors? The centipede charges in like a hungry locomotive. But the vinegaroon grabs first. The centipede lashes its body around. Venom claws looking for a way in.
This centipede is tough, but this vinegaroon has it in a really, really tight grip in the pedipalps. It's almost like being caught in a nutcracker.
Oh, that's gotta hurt. Even if the centipede manages to get away, he's going to have a terminal headache, and I don't think he's going to get very far.
The centipede's legs kick feebly as claw-like chelicerae tear into its neck, almost severing the head. Regurgitated digestive juices flood the wound, transforming solid flesh into centipede soup.
So it seems that the old adage of live by the sword, die by the sword is just as applicable to the bug world as anywhere else.
The vinegaroon savors its victory, ferrying its dead foe back to the underworld to feast in peace. When an army of green ants marches against a swarm of paper wasps, it's a battle worthy of the big screen. Above the ground, a high-rise militia goes through its maneuvers. Its headquarters is a leafy bunker, home not to generals, but to green ant larvae, who could one day become soldiers in an ever-expanding army.
Green ant colonies are generally spread around a dozen trees that might contain up to 150 nests, with 100,000 to 500,000 ants total, all of which will risk life and limb to protect the colony.
Every one of these workers comes equipped with weapons of war, serrated mandibles that cut and crush. As in all ant societies, male drones stay at home, leaving this army of sterile females to forage for food. But at the first sign of war, chemicals called pheromones are sent out. Foragers become green grunts, and more move into the kill zone. Even a huge and highly venomous scorpion is no match for a company of angry green ants.
For green ants, defense is all about strength in numbers. They will just keep sending more and more troops out until whatever they're battling with is either gone or they kill it and carry it away for dinner.
Green ants also deploy chemical weaponry. Formic acid that burns organic tissue sprays from their abdomens. If that weren't bad enough, they swarm over a victim, literally biting it to death. A grasshopper many times bigger than one ant is no match for a seething mass of foot soldiers.
When the workers are called to arms, you're no longer dealing with a bunch of cute and fascinating little green ants. Rather, they become like this unstoppable organic plasma that can deter any predator, whether it's coming from the ground or the air.
Victims become helpless marionettes, dancing to the tune of a swarm of single-minded puppeteers. Below this treetop bunker, with its elite soldiers, another force has moved in. A colony of paper wasps. In a skirmish, they use their aerial maneuverability like a weapon. Paper wasps don't fly fast, but they hover with intent, like attack helicopters, waiting to strike and feed.
Paper wasps are really important because they kill so many pest species of caterpillars. The adults are active for anywhere from 2 weeks to maybe 3 weeks. They spend all of their time going out and foraging to kill the caterpillars.
Like the ants, most of the wasp foraging force are sterile females, with heavy artillery at the front and some big guns at the rear.
Unlike bees that can only sting once, these wasps can sting repeatedly.
But paper wasps don't rely just on firepower. They have tactical coordination down to a fine art.
Wasps are actually really smart. They're capable of complex learning. They've got excellent vision.
Like green ants, adult paper wasps hunt and kill only to feed their larvae. Their own survival depends on it. Wasps feed the larvae with captured caterpillars. In turn, the larvae produce nutrient-rich saliva that's fed back to the adults. Life goes on in the paper wasp nest and the green ant colony. It's live and let live. But nature is fickle. One unfortunate windstorm can smash one bug civilization up against another without warning.
This is two insect civilizations at war. And no matter who wins, both sides are going to suffer massive losses.
In the rainforest, it's the calm before the storm. But as the weather worsens, a tree branch, home to a green ant colony, is flung against a paper wasp nest. War is declared. Wasps mobilize their airborne troops. Gangs of green ants swarm over individual wasps.
Green ants have a major tactical advantage here because they can team up very efficiently against an individual wasp, but the wasps can't work together against an individual ant.
The ants lay pheromone trails and shake their bodies to communicate and coordinate their attack. Without the ants' superior teamwork, the wasps are at a disadvantage. But one-on-one, a larger wasp overpowers a single ant. Some are thrown to the ground, others killed instantly. But in ant battle tactics, strength lies in numbers. Individual wasps are pinned down, sprayed with formic acid, and bitten ferociously. Alone, they have no answer to a combined attack.
The wasps are so much larger than the ants, and they're not cooperating the same way. They're all actively defending the area, but the ants are able to gang up and pull on different legs. So an individual wasp may have multiple ants attacking it.
A raiding party of green ants bursts into the paper wasp nursery. Here, wasp guards defend their larvae by biting and stinging.
The wasp's sting is great against bigger animals, but it's pretty hard for a wasp to effectively sting one ant. And even though wasps are able to sting repeatedly, it's really hard for them to sting one ant, sting another ant, sting another ant.
The green ants may have the upper hand, but now the wasps retaliate. Mounting a concerted airborne attack, they breach the ants' headquarters and begin carrying off the ant brood. More and more wasps overwhelm the ants' nest. It's a mass attack. Under the onslaught, green ants scurry to save their young. It's carnage. The battlefield is littered with the wounded, the dying, and the dead.
All either colony can do is pick up the pieces and start over again.
The wasps' superior airborne maneuverability and their preemptive strike on the ant's nest tips the balance. They overcome their assailants, but at enormous cost. Defeated, the green ants sound the retreat. Their bunker is torn apart. They scramble to salvage the surviving larvae. In a bug war of this magnitude, the refugees have no choice but to escape with their young, to start a new life in another part of the forest. When a geophyllid centipede grapples with a Costa Rican cellar spider, it's silky skills versus straight-up savagery. The rainforests of Central America are rife with skilled killers. But when it comes to speed and aggression, the geophyllid centipede is in a class of its own.
If you shrunk a freight train down to just a few inches and gave it 152 legs and a hyperactive and aggressive attitude and a pair of venom claws, you'd end up with a geophyllid centipede. The only thing guaranteed to slow this guy down is death.
Swift and sure-footed, As flexible as a yoga master, this restless hunter can handle not just rough terrain, but in some cases, no terrain, flowing across crevices like its own rope bridge on 76 pairs of legs. Each body segment is protected top and bottom by armored plates. At the rear, a pair of anal legs mimics the centipede's antennae, so predators aren't sure which is the dangerous end. When it tracks down prey, those legs become multiple weapons of war.
The instant he makes contact with the prey, he wraps as many legs around it as he can and just ties it up. Each one of these legs is tipped with a very sharp claw, so this is like trying to wrestle a snake that's inside of a barbed wire suit.
With the victim pinned, the centipede puts its venom claws to work, injecting a lethal chemical brew.
Most centipede venoms contain a chemical called 5-hydroxytryptamine, which is the neurotransmitter that we call serotonin. This not only produces pain in the prey, but also increases the absorption of other toxins that break down the cell walls and the tissue.
What the venom doesn't do, the vicious claws finish off. The centipede starts tunneling through the katydid and devours its victim from the inside, right up to the eyeballs. All that's left is a shell, discarded like an empty glove. Nearby, another ruthless hunter is setting her trap. Looking delicate, even frail, the Costa Rican Cellar Spider is deceptively deadly.
Cellar spiders look so delicate, but actually they're really quite tough predators.
For this web warrior, being neat isn't a high priority.
The cellar spiders build a fairly messy web. They hang upside down in this web, and then they may have lines going down to the ground that are relatively sticky.
When a bug blunders into her gossamer curtain, those extra long, thin legs start throwing silk thread in a rapid-fire frenzy of wrapping.
When the cellar spider wraps its prey, it isn't putting out big swaths of silk the way some of the other spiders do. They're essentially just putting out a single line, but they do it extraordinarily fast, and so they can really wrap up and do it fast.
But the female cellar spider is about to receive another visitor. The geophilid centipede is on its way. What happens when the silk stalker is struck by a runaway train?
Anyone who thinks cellar spiders are harmless doesn't know they're spiders. The centipede could be hog-tied in an instant, and then the only way he could break free would be brute force.
In a Central American rainforest, a hungry Costa Rican cellar spider is desperate to feed. A geophilid centipede is a potential smorgasbord, but it could also make a meal of her. The cellar spider smothers her enemy with silk before delivering a venomous bite. The geophilid centipede uses claw-tipped legs to grip its foe, and venom claws to inject a toxic chemical cocktail. With customary bravado, the centipede hurtles onto the web.
That many feet, the odds of getting tangled up are enormous. If he doesn't break free quickly, the web owner will come down and scope him out.
The cellar spider reacts instantly, lassoing the intruder with strand after strand of sticky silk.
The first thing the centipede would normally do when being overwhelmed by a threat is head for the nearest crevice at high speed. But that's clearly impossible to do when you're being wound up with thread after thread of super sticky spider silk.
The trapped centipede lashes about like a demented garden hose, trying to score a direct hit with its deadly venom claws. But the spider is always just out of range.
This is where silk wrapping with these incredibly long legs comes in handy. She cannot get too close to that centipede. The way she is wrapping is amazing. Look at how fast this is.
The cellar spider goes into overdrive. Her legs are a blur as she throws silk at a rate of 6 loops per second. But the centipede is just as quick to break the ties that bind.
This is an epic fight back. If he can get those venom claws into the spider, just one bite would be enough to turn this fight upside down.
The spider sneaks in several bites, but her venom is relatively weak and slow-acting. But eventually, with her victim's head pinned and its body twisted like a pretzel, the spider seems to have won. But like a horror movie monster, the centipede suddenly breaks free once more.
This is amazingly risky business with this centipede getting its head free all of the time. She's putting out an enormous amount of silk. At some point, she's going to run out of the silk that she has available.
Her silk stores are used up. The spider is throwing thin air, and the centipede's head is still free. In desperation, she dispenses her few remaining drops of venom.
The centipede may have finally succumbed, but talk about combat endurance. He made the spider use every last inch of its silk, every last drop of its venom, and every last bit of its energy. He won't be remembered as a wimp.
It's been an epic battle. Now, the epic feast. The cellar spider spews digestive juices into the centipede's body and sucks up the liquefied flesh.
Okay, I know it's dead, but I wouldn't be surprised to see this centipede spring back into action one last time.